Viewer from Brainerd wants to ask a related question. Can the state legislative auditor talk about his investigation into the constitutional dedicated legacy funds of a couple of years ago?
Yes, we are doing at least one audit of one of the legacy funds every year, and I felt strongly about that. Even though it does make government more complicated, it makes, frankly, our work more complicated. I feel, again, a responsibility to the people of the state of Minnesota who voted to have these 4 funds. And so I consider my job is to fulfill that mandate, that we spend money that goes into that pot on the things that the Constitution said are supposed to be developed out of that money. And so we are doing work, and we are finding that it's very challenging and complicated. One of the big issues with legacy money that we've had to deal with is not only are we spending them out of the right fund, but how much are we spending on administration? Because I think there was an expectation, not always real clearly stated, but an expectation nonetheless, that we did not want to use this new money that was coming in from the legacy amendment to just support the bureaucracy, so to speak. That the people really wanted something above and beyond what we were already doing. And yet there has to be some amount of money to administer the programs that are funded out of the legacy money. There's just a hope and an expectation that we will keep that as low as possible.
Were there any specific findings in that investigation that our viewers might find of interest? I mean, other than perhaps some of the more minor issues, anything in particular that we should bring to their attention?
Well, actually, I would encourage your viewers to go on our website, and there is an evaluation report that we did on the legacy amendment itself. We wanted to sort of take a broad view, and we did lay out a number of issues that we felt were going to be ongoing issues and concerns about the legacy amendment and the utilization of that money. And one of them was administrative expense. But another one, which is a provision that's in the Constitution itself, which says that this new legacy money is supposed to be used to supplement what we're already doing and not substitute for traditional funding. Determining what is traditional funding. Is it what happened last year? Is it what has happened over 10 years? Is very unclear. And so that report in particular, I would recommend to people as kind of laying out what I consider going to be the continuing challenges. Another one that we mentioned in that report is something that is a challenge that we feel as an evaluation audit office.
About 20 seconds.
And that is to determine what ultimately did we get for the money we've spent. And so what are the outcomes going to be?